Good afternoon, class, and welcome to our Gilded Age dinner party. Cheers. Now, reason why, as you can see, I'm all dressed up for our dinner party tonight because we have very important guests. We're going to be creating a seating arrangement for some big names in the Gilded Age, okay? Two opposing views, and we're going to be working to find some connections between them, okay? Quick reminder on Zoom, guys. Expectations are that you have your screen on and you are muted unless it is your turn to speak to the class, okay? Now, let's move on. So today, through our activity, we'll be working on a couple of things. Like I said, we're comparing two opposing views and looking at these individuals. So go ahead and read these objectives off to yourself. But today you will be able to formulate connections between different cultures by analyzing each individual's background, okay? We're going to look at where these people are from, their social class, the schooling they had, political and social views. And that's going to help us analyze and kind of compare and contrast these very different viewpoints, okay? Also, after that, our extension will compare it to the modern world. So you will be able to compare different modern viewpoints through the lens of the past, okay? So we've got those opposing views of the Gilded Age, but keep in mind throughout the lesson today, kind of what this looks like today, and think of some present day examples while we're running through this. All right. Just a quick refresher on some key terms we're looking at today. The Gilded Age. Okay. Who can tell me what Gilded is? Anyone? Okay. Well, gilded is a term used for something that is golden, but it is only covered in gold on the outside, okay? So the inside is a less expensive, less precious metal, and then it's covered in the expensive gold. So it's deceiving. It looks nice and big and fancy and expensive, but on the inside, it's not what it looks like. So that's our kind of the key term and phrase that describes this time period, okay? And that time period is from about 1870 to about 1900. This is some key factors in this age are rapid economic growth due to industrialization. We have tons of immigrants coming into the country. And as a result, there's a high concentration of wealth and economic inequality in the country at this time, right? Now, two kind of categories we're going to be looking at today. We've got on one side, the robber barons, okay? Typically wealthy businessmen known for exploitative practices in their business. So working people really long, not a lot of breaks, things like that. And they usually control big, giant industrial companies, okay? Things like steel, railroads, stuff like that. Now, on the other side, we've got the progressives, okay? Now, this is a term still thrown around, whereas robber baron, not really thrown around that much today. But progressives, this is where that term really begins, and we still use it today. So this is individuals who took part in the social activism, which took place in response to the problems brought about by industrialization. So to sum that up, so industrialization changes things. People are moving to cities. We have high concentrations of people, harsh working environments. And so the robber barons were kind of getting away with it all until we have a number of progressives step up and stand up for all the working class people. The progressives targeted the upper social classes. They wanted to band together to use the government because those individuals in the lower classes can't really fight those with all the money and power, except for having government. So progressives promoted government regulations in order to do something to fight back against those robber barons and their practices. So they were using the government as kind of their tool because there wasn't any other option to combat these giant robber barons who have enormous wealth. Okay. So keep these terms in mind now that we have kind of an understanding. We're going to be getting into our activity today, okay? Now, welcome to our dinner party. Here are our guests, okay? And just give you a quick introduction to everybody. But in a little bit, you'll be researching each of these individuals. There are links. If you follow my mouse here, if you click on their picture, it will bring you to a link with some information about them, okay? So just like that, you can look into some background info. But first, right here, we've got Samuel Gompers, okay? Now, Samuel Gompers was a leader in the American labor movement, okay? So he was standing up for the workers. And he is of Jewish nationality and is from London. So just off those quick hitting facts, I'd like you to put up one finger if you think he's a robber baron, or two fingers if he's a progressive. Put it right up in front of the screen there. Okay, all right, nice work. Next, moving on to our next guest, I'd like to introduce you guys. Number 2 here is JP Morgan. Okay, now you might know that name because that name is still around. In fact, many of your parents probably bank at Morgan Chase Bank. Okay, that is from this man. He worked in finance, and his bank and name is still around today. So, oh, there we go. So give me one finger. Give me a number 1 if you think he's a robber baron, or number 2 for progressive. Okay, all right. And moving on to our next guest. His name is Cornelius Vanderbilt. Now, if that name sounds familiar, it should. There is a Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee. It's named after him. He was a steamship and railroad tycoon. So put one finger up again if you think he's a robber baron, and 2 if you think he's progressive. All right, and next guest right here is Booker T. Washington. Okay, he was born as a slave and rose all the way up to eventually become an advisor to President Teddy Roosevelt. So put one finger again, 1 if you think he's robber baron, 2 if you think he's progressive. Right. See those fingers? Nice job. All right, and on to the next woman here, Ida Tarbell. Okay, she worked as a journalist back in the Gilded Age and was primarily known for, made her name by investigating oil companies. Now, 1 finger if you think she's a robber baron, 2 if you think she's progressive. Yeah, everyone got that one? Pretty obvious there. And how about this bearded fella here, Andrew Carnegie? Again, another name that should sound familiar. Anybody heard of Carnegie Hall? Yeah, okay. Yeah, that is named after him, and a lot of these, a lot of the wealthy men of this time donated big fancy monuments and things for public good to kind of give them some good PR, public relations, make everybody think that they're sharing their wealth. So Carnegie Hall is one of the remnants of that, just like Vanderbilt University, okay? And Andrew Carnegie worked in Pittsburgh steel industry. So 1 finger think he's a robber baron, 2 thinks he's progressive. All right, everybody's getting the hang of this. Now let's move on to Eugene V. Debs. Okay, he was a labor organizer and ran for president under the Socialist Party several times. So an obvious one. We got 1 if he's a robber baron, 2 think he's progressive. Yeah. And last but definitely not least, another name that should sound familiar, John D. Rockefeller. Okay, Rockefeller Plaza, where the big Christmas tree is in New York. That's named and donated after him. Okay, he was the owner of Standard Oil. Okay, that was a big monopoly. They owned everything in the oil industry back in the day. So for today's activity, now you guys are going to be clicking on these links, reading a bit about each person, and finding things that they share in common. Okay, directions are posted up here. This assignment, I'll point for it, just completing it. There are no wrong answers on this. You just need to make an attempt at comparing the 2 people and finding something in common. Okay, so we don't want to sit all robber barons with robber barons. We're going to be mixing these people. Okay, so you're finding the similarities between these 2 opposing viewpoints, seeing what common ground You know, maybe you can list it in bullet points, you can put it in paragraph form, that's up to you. Just make sure you convey that they're seated next to each other, because something in common or some kind of discussion they could have while sitting next to each other, right? If you have an easy time with that, and wrap it up pretty quickly here in our independent practice time, then there is another option here with a circular table where you have to find even more connections between every person. So if you're feeling pretty good about this assignment and want a challenge today, we've got the circle table available also, okay? Now, so for instance, kind of what you're going to do, you can make a copy of this page, you can print it out and hand it in tomorrow in person. But what you're going to do is be dragging, when you make a copy of this page here so that you have the slide, you're going to be dragging these faces, and you can edit it and seat them next to each other. And then in these blue boxes, that's where you type your either paragraph or bullet points, any way you want. You could even print it out and draw a picture if you like. You just need to convey to me what they have in common, okay? There's also some background information if you're interested up here on either of these links, kind of about the age and everything that was happening at that time, but all the links on the pictures are just those individuals. So if I will remain on the Zoom, if you have questions on anything, I might also be checking in on you, calling you into breakout rooms so you can share your screen and kind of show me your progress as we're going here. And you guys will have until roughly 1:43 to finish this. So keep an eye on those clocks, keep working on that, and then we'll talk about our extension after that, okay? And now that you guys have had time to work on that, if you have not finished it, you need to do so before tomorrow. And now for the extension to take home, okay? So we kind of worked on those two sides and comparing them. What you guys are going to do tonight, if you recall that second objective where we're comparing two different modern viewpoints. So today we have tech barons, you know, big rich guys like Steve Jobs and Bezos, Bill Gates. So what you guys are going to do is look at modern day tech barons and modern day progressives. Okay, so you're going to, on your own research, you can just make sure you're using trustworthy websites. Okay, everybody remember .edus are a lot better than .coms. Okay, but you're going to be find 4 modern day barons and 4 modern day progressives, and then make another dinner table for them. And just like the last one, you know, you need to make an attempt and list something there. There are no wrong answers, just poor explanations. So make sure you got something in there that they have in common and they can talk about, okay? And if you have any questions at all, please email me, and have a wonderful day.